Strategy, An Introduction to Game Theory by Joel Watson. This is a book summary. A chessboard in the middle of a darkened room. A single spotlight illuminates it. The pieces move by themselves, revealing a complex strategy unfolding. What if I told you that every decision you make, whether it's negotiating a raise, playing poker, or even picking the shortest line at the grocery store, follows a hidden blueprint, a set of rules so powerful it has shaped wars, business empires, political landscapes, and even the evolution of life itself? We're not just talking about games you play for fun. No, this is about something much bigger. Every move you make, every choice you consider, someone else is making theirs too. The question is, can you predict them? Can you outthink them? Welcome to Game Theory, the science of strategy, the key to winning at life's most crucial decisions. And today we're diving into Joel Watson's masterpiece, Strategy, An Introduction to Game Theory. A book that unveils the hidden rules governing everything from global conflicts to your next job interview. So buckle up, because once you understand game theory, you'll never look at the world the same way again. Chapter 1. The Game of Life. From ancient Babylonian inheritance laws to Cold War nuclear standoffs, from hostile business takeovers to football plays that decide championships, humans have always been strategic thinkers. Even in nature, evolution itself follows game-theoretic principles. Species competing for survival, predators, and prey locked in an eternal battle of wits. But what makes a strategy good? How do we make winning decisions when others are making their own choices too? This is where game theory comes in. It's not just about winning. It's about anticipating, outmaneuvering, and making the smartest move possible. Why do airlines price their tickets the way they do? Why do nations enter into peace treaties, only to break them? Why do job seekers sometimes accept lower salaries instead of holding out for more? The answers lie in the games we play every day, and whether we recognize them or not, we are already players in them. But before we dive deeper, let's start with the basics. Chapter 2. What's in a game? What if I told you that every interaction, every competition, every negotiation you've ever been a part of, whether you realized it or not, was a game? Not just a game in the sense of Monopoly or chess, but a strategic battlefield where decisions ripple outward, influencing everyone involved. From business negotiations to military conflicts, from elections to family dinner debates, game theory is everywhere. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's break it down. In game theory, a game isn't just something you play for fun. It's any situation where multiple players interact, each trying to achieve their own goals. And just like in chess or business, there are two kinds of games: non-cooperative games, where players act in their own self-interest, and agreements are either unreliable or outright impossible. These games can be ruthless. Think of companies locked in price wars, or countries playing a dangerous game of brinkmanship, like the Cuban Missile Crisis, where one wrong move could have ended in nuclear war. Cooperative games, where deals, negotiations, and agreements can be made. Here, strategy is about alliances and mutual benefit. But even in these settings, trust is fragile. Deals can be broken, betrayals happen, and hidden agendas are always at play. But here's the real kicker. What if I told you that no matter what kind of game you're playing, there's one fundamental rule that defines how it unfolds? It's called the Nash equilibrium. And once you understand it, you'll never look at decision-making the same way again. Chapter 3. Nash equilibrium, the unbreakable balance. Imagine you're playing rock, paper, scissors with a friend. You both know each other's habits. You've played 100 times before. You know they love choosing rock. They know you prefer scissors. So what do? You pick paper. Easy win, right? Not so fast. They know that they like rock, so they might switch to paper. Now you're overthinking. Should you switch to scissors? But what if they anticipated that too? Welcome to strategic equilibrium. This is what John Nash, one of the greatest minds in mathematics, uncovered. The point where no player has anything to gain by changing their strategy if everyone else sticks to theirs. This is called the Nash equilibrium, and it governs everything from business rivalries to military conflicts, from auction strategies to dating apps. Ever wonder why traffic jams never seem to clear up? Because every driver is thinking the same thing. If I switch lanes, I might get ahead, but if everyone else switches too, I'm stuck in the same place. The result? A Nash equilibrium. No one moves. No one gains. Even in war, world leaders calculate their moves based on what their enemies are likely to do. During the Cold War, neither the United States nor the Soviet Union launched a nuclear strike. Why? Because both sides knew if one attacked, the other would retaliate, resulting in total destruction. This delicate balance of power was a Nash equilibrium in action. But now, let's raise the stakes even further. What happens when people don't just choose their moves, but start strategizing over time? What happens when your reputation, your history, and your future interactions come into play? Chapter 4: The Prisoner's Dilemma. Betray or trust. Imagine you and a partner have been caught committing a crime. The police separates you into 2 rooms. No communication. No second chances. Then an officer leans in and whispers, "If you betray your partner and they stay silent, you walk free while they take the full sentence." Sounds tempting, but here's the catch. If both of you betray, you both serve time. If both of you stay silent, you each get a lighter sentence. The choices are simple, but the stakes are high. Cooperate and stay silent. Risky, but potentially rewarding. Betray and save yourself. Smart, but only if they don't betray you too. This is the prisoner's dilemma, one of the most famous and powerful concepts in game theory. And it doesn't just apply to criminals. It explains real-world behavior everywhere. Why companies either price fix or compete viciously. Think Coca-Cola versus Pepsi. Should they set high prices together or undercut each other? Why teammates might not pass the ball. A soccer player wants the glory. Do they trust their teammate to pass back? Why global climate agreements struggle. Countries promise to cut emissions, but if one cheats, they gain an economic advantage. The cold, hard truth. In a one-time game, betrayal wins. Because when self-interest and group benefit clash, people look out for themselves. But here's the twist. Life isn't just one game. What happens when you play again and again? What happens when your choices today affect your future battles? That's where repeated games and reputation come in. Chapter 5: The Long Game, Reputation and Bluffing. You ever wonder why people bluff in poker? Why businesses spend millions on customer service? Why diplomats shake hands on treaties, knowing full well they could break them? It's called reputation strategy. And in the long game, it's the most powerful weapon you have. When players interact over and over, they remember each other's choices. If you're a backstabber, people will avoid you. If you honor your word, people will trust you. That's why Amazon obsesses over customer service, because loyalty today means profits tomorrow. That's why mafia bosses enforce strict codes of honor, because breaking trust is a death sentence. That's why nations honor peace treaties, because breaking one can lead to isolation or war. But sometimes a reputation for being unpredictable is its own strategy. This is the art of bluffing. If you always play the same way, people will exploit you. But if you keep them guessing, you control the game. That's why business leaders, world leaders, and top poker players master game theory. Because it's not just about winning now, it's about setting up future wins. So let's bring it home. Game theory isn't just for scientists or mathematicians. It's for anyone who negotiates, competes, or makes strategic choices, which means you. Want a raise? Negotiate strategically. Don't just demand, predict your boss's counterplay. Want to win at poker? Read your opponents. Understand when to bluff and when to fold. Want to predict markets? Understand strategic competition. Why companies collaborate or fight. Because now you have the tools to see the hidden strategies in everyday life. So next time you make a decision, ask yourself, what's the game? Who are the players? And what's your winning move? That's Strategy, an introduction to game theory by Joel Watson, a book that pulls back the curtain on the hidden rules of decision-making. Hit that like button if you learned something new, and don't forget to subscribe for more mind-blowing insights. What do you think? What's a real-life game theory example you've noticed?